Morning, esteemed judges, honorable members of the opposition, and fellow speakers. The motion before us today is this House would ban child actors. As the first speaker of proposition, I will define the motion, set out our framing, and present three reasons why child acting should be banned. Why child acting should be banned. Child actors are individuals under 18 who work in commercial entertainment such as movies, TV shows, and advertisements. Under our model, children under 18 are banned from commercial acting, but studios and parents who violate this face financial penalties, while non-commercial activities like school plays are allowed. To understand this debate, we need to look at how protection actually works in reality. In the status quo, regulations depend on someone reporting abuse or overwork, but no one on set has an incentive because it risks their job. At the same time, children cannot meaningfully resist because they depend on their parents and are convinced this is for their own good. So the real question is not whether the rules exist, but whether they actually prevent them from harm in practice. Our first argument is that child acting cause serious harms to children's mental and physical health. This happens because the relationship between parent and child often becomes distorted via money. Parents become managers driven by money, fame, or personal ambition than child's well-being. We see this clearly in the case of Janet McCurdy, who described how her acting career led to depression, anxiety, and eating disorders due to pressure from her mother and the industry. At the same time, the industry itself has incentives to push children to their absolute limits. Children are replaceable, competition is intense, and emotional distress can even improve performances. The impact is that children lose a normal childhood and develop long-term issues like low self-esteem, anxiety, and eating disorders, which of many persist into adulthood. Our second argument is that existing laws fail to protect children at all. While laws like the Coogan Law exist, they mainly protect a portion of a child's earning, not their well-being, working conditions, or emotional health. These laws were introduced after cases like Jackie Coogan, whose parents spent most of his earning, showing that exploitation has always been a problem in this industry. The issue is that regulation depends on enforcement, and enforcement depends on reporting, which rarely happens due to fear, pressure, and dependency. The impact is that practices continue despite regulation, proving that the system is structurally flawed and cannot be fixed through small adjustments. Our third and last argument is that child acting harms education and long-term development. This is because acting takes up time and energy, reducing focus on school, even when education is provided on set. It is often under-prioritized compared to the actual production. The impact is that children miss key development experiences, they lose opportunities to build friendships or subjects and discover their actual interests. In the long term, their access to higher education and alternative careers, trapping many in acting even when they are burnt and or no longer want to continue. To conclude, we support this motion because it harms children's mental health, and we continue to exploit them despite the regulation. For these reasons, we are proud to propose this motion. Thank you.
Many families with all different backgrounds want their child to thrive with their passion. They need to support their family, and acting could be the only way. Acting as a child is not a crime, and many children are passionate about it. They want to choose their dreams. Similarly, productions also need children to act in order for it to work. The parents need the child to support the family. The child could be incredibly passionate about it, and the production can be. In those situations, all three parties are happy, so why stop it? We'll have to look realistically. Not all the children are guaranteed to be mistreated and abused in productions. How many children are guaranteed to be mistreated? Proposition has stated that child acting is very harmful for certain children, but banning should not be the solution. Because what about all the other children who actually want to pursue acting? It is hard to make sure that every single country that banned acting, every single produced performance, does not have children in it. This can be very time consuming and also can take a lot of money, even though this problem can already be solved by good regulation. Firstly, I'll describe what this motion means. We're supporting that the government should not ban actors performing under 18. We will add this rule to our society, and the people who are using the child will be shut down or even fined. The current status quo is that firstly, there are strict rules about minors who have to work, including certain things that how much the child can spend acting. And many children are very passionate about acting, and movies and production could have children as a theme. They're having no way to replace children. We'll have to look at things what is best for a child, second, why art is important. And in the current status quo, many laws all over the world have strict rules. Acting is a very popular form of art, and many classical performance theming children will have to be passed on. My first argument is that many children are passionate about acting, and they want to act in a big production to train this skill. Shown through the amount of children acting right now. We believe it is very important that children have this experience, as firstly, it builds their confidence and other skills. Second, it gives them experience if they want to pursue acting. It is shown through many famous and great people have started when they were training their skills when they were young. We believe that this experience is irreplaceable, as it is one of the only times the children can actually act in a proper surrounding. Our first argument is that many productions actually need children. Think about all the famous productions. That first, we will have to understand that productions are based on look and sound, and some are only achievable by children. Sure, there are some adults that can actually do this, but with those tiny amounts of adults that are experienced enough to act a child's role, will they be enough to support every single movie that stars a child? Productions are an important form of art, and we always want to preserve art and famous paintings and writing. Art is culture, emotion, and sympathy. Without art, many things will be lost. But not allowing children to perform means certain movies will not be able to work. Art is lost, including those classics that has to pass on generations. An example of this will be the popular and classical play, Annie. This play had become a movie and shall be passed on. We believe as opposition, a total ban will not solve a lot of issues, as it is hard to make sure that everyone will follow this rule. This can spend a lot of money and also a lot of time. And even though those problems can already be solved with less time and money spent. Thank you.
In this speech, I will build upon the Prime Minister's case, prove why the opposition's arguments are false, and I will introduce some new material of my own. First, let me start with my rebuttals. They say that children are passionate about acting and they need to be child actors to pursue their passions. But this is completely untrue because this doesn't acknowledge that students can pursue their passions in other ways. There are musicals and schools where they have more chances of being treated better because there are less financial incentives, as musicals and school plays are often non-commercial. They say that who's going to play children on TV, but they ignore that adult actors can be used. They say that adult actors won't be enough, but CGI can also be used to change an adult to look like a child on movies. This is an authentic enough portrayal for young children because they think that if it looks like a child, it probably is a child. They also mention that in traditional plays won't be passed on, but they're confusing movies with plays. We support nonprofit musicals and plays, but what we don't support is children acting in movies and shows because it significantly harms them. They say that a ban is too extreme and regulation is enough, but this isn't true. I will now explain why. My first argument is on inherent psychological harm. No matter how much we regulate child acting, it's still children, not because of exploitative or abusive adults, but because of the inherent way the film industry exists. This harm is psychological and it cannot be mitigated with regulation. So let's imagine the best environment for a child actor, a best case scenario. Supportive and kind parents who let their child choose if they ever want to stop acting, accommodating set producers who treat the child actor kindly, and places for the children to do their schoolwork and interact with their friends. Even in this scenario, the child's development is still severely harmed because it ties a child's identity and self worth to performance, external validation, and adult expectations. This creates a system where they think that I am valued when I perform well, and that's fundamentally different from normal childhood. Opposition may list plenty of successful, happy child actors. For example, Miley Cyrus in response. But this is just what we see at surface level. We can recognize external harm, but we can't recognize internal developmental harm. Now, on to my second argument. Child acting significantly harms academic success and school attendance. This is because working multiple hours per day barely leaves any time and energy for schoolwork. Even if we reduce and regulate hours, school time will still be reduced because the schoolrooms set up in studios are neglected and underfunded because directors and managers want children to focus on their acting and nobody will send a signal to government agencies about an fear of losing their job. Child actors who are pressured into unhealthy eating patterns that often turn into body dysmorphia and eating disorders are physically low on energy, which impairs attention, motivation, and memory skills for study. To conclude, the proposition has successfully proven that even in the best case scenario, child acting severely harms children, and in the worst case scenario, children can develop body dysmorphia and horrible issues that harm them for the rest of their lives. For these reasons, we are proud to propose.
First, in the speech, I will do two things. So I will rebut to what the second speaker of the proposition has said, and second, I will present two arguments in support of the opposition side. So let me start with the rebuttals. The proposition talked about how there will be less like financial incentives in like a school environment and or like from school activities, but our team believes it's not true. So first, pressure is pressure because in competitive school sports or like high stakes like drama productives in schools, um the incentive isn't like this paycheck because it's a scholarship, like a trophy, or like this um very important like massive like ego, I guess, from of a coach that wants to win at any cost, and that's a very high pressure, and it is well the same as any other like film, like film development, and um.
Yoi,
Yeah.
why do you think that the pressures of being a child athlete is the same as being a child actor when child actors have more financial pressures, social pressures, and they have a bigger audience to please? A sports athlete only has a small audience to please, whereas child actors feel like they're being watched by millions of people around the world. How do you respond to that?
Well, then, what is the like by being like this school like sports, like for example you're in like the school sports team, and it's like something that you need, or like you need to get like uh a proof that you've played well in this sport, then it's obviously a very high pressure because you need to win in like this uh situation to like have this proof, I guess, to allow yourself to like uh achieve something. And okay, now I'll move on to my own first point. So first my point is that where like by uh letting the children act and also um get in touch with this kind of like acting industry, it can build skills and also confidence. So first, like child acting is not like automatically harmful, and also like not immediately like gonna cause trauma on like a child. And for many children it can build like confidence and also communication between people, and for example also creativity and teamwork. And um if we just ban child actors completely, we remove like the positive like or also like opportunities for children to help children grow, especially when they're like uh supported in like a healthy and supervised way. And the proposition also talked about how it's like like children won't get protected enough, but I believe like that's exactly why we should improve how we protect like children, and also allow them to not get like physically or emotionally when they're acting. And my other point is where like regulation can be like a shield, and a ban is just like absolutely removing this very important aspect of the whole acting industry. And like for example, like uh the proposition team also talked about how it might affect like school and also education, like mandatory like schooling, or also like a very reasonable like uh time management, or like also a schedule, can help the children better manage their time and also not miss out in school uh curriculums and also lessons. So this is why our team believes that it's important to not ban child actors, and also um allow them to have to express themselves. Proud to propose.
Good morning, judges, honorable members of the House, and worthy opponents. As government whip, I will first rebuild our case and then respond to my opposition and finally weigh this debate to show why we win. First, I'll start by rebuilding our case. Our debate is about one core principle. Do we protect the children, or do we allow an industry to expose them for profit and entertainment? Our bench has showed that child acting leads to serious mental, physical, and developmental harm. Children are placed in high pressure environments where they're constantly judged and compared. This leads to long term issues like low self esteem and unhealthy relationships with their body and identity. We also showed how child acting damages the parent child relationship, when parents become the managers and prioritize success over well being. On top of that, the industry has received incentives to exploit children. They are irreplaceable, easier to control, and pushed harder for better performance. We then proved that child acting harmed education for free and the chance to explore different paths. So I gave this system systematically harms children in ways that are often irreversible. Secondly, rebuttals. The opposition says child acting gives money and that children may be passionate about acting. But children cannot meaningfully consent to long-term risks. A child may enjoy acting, but they do not understand the consequences: burnout, loss of education, or mental health damage. Passion does not justify exposure to harm. They also argue that not all children are abused, but we do not need every child to be harmed to justify a ban. If a system has high risk of serious harm, especially to vulnerable individuals, we regulate it or remove it. We don't wait for every child to suffer before acting. They claim strict rules and regulation can protect children. But as we proved, regulation fails in practice. It relies on reporting, yet no one has incentives to report children fear to report. Children fear parents. Parents benefit financially, and workers fear losing jobs. So regulation becomes a weak shield, not real protection. They argue that the industry needs children and movies to fail without them. This is exaggerated. The most successful children content today is animation, voice acting, and creative alternatives. The industry can adapt, but a children's well-being cannot be replaced when it's damaged. They say the pressure is the same as any industry. This is false. Adults choose their careers with full understanding and maturity. Children do not have the emotional and psychological capacity to handle this level of scrutiny, fame, and pressure. They also claim that child acting builds confidence and but these benefits can be achieved through safer alternatives like school drama, community theater, and hobbies without exposing children to exploitation, public scrutiny, and financial pressure. Finally, they say that child acting does not always cause trauma. But again, this misses the point. The risk of severe irreversible harm, mental health issues, damaged development is enough. When the stakes are this high, prevention matters more than possibility. Finally, weighing this debate. This debate comes down to replaceable benefits versus irreplaceable harm. On the other side, you have money, passion, industry convenience, and some skill building opportunities. But on if you don't ban long but if you don't ban child acting, you have long-term mental health damage, physical harm and unhealthy habits, loss of education and future opportunities, and broken family relationships. And most importantly, these harms affect children who cannot fully protect themselves. Even if only a portion of these children are harmed, severity and irreversibility of the harm outweigh any benefit the opposition provides. When the choice is between us and protecting the child, protecting children, or an industry, we obviously protect the children. No opportunity is worth risking a child's well-being. So we strongly stand in support of this motion. Thank you.
First of all, I want to rebut the third speaker of the proposition team. Prop ignores how they would ban child actors, and this is a problem because it's impossible to ban all countries as a worldwide ban requires way too much effort, money, and time. This is not necessarily good, and in the best case scenario for prop, where this ban is implemented worldwide, children will still be used in acting, as it is still significantly cheaper to use children than in special effects to replace a child. Children will still be used, just illegally by smaller committees. Next, I want to talk about the main stakeholders in this debate and why opposition benefits them more than proposition does. The main
POI.
stakeholders are children, families, the film industry, and society as a whole. Our side benefits them more because it does not take away children's opportunities completely. Instead, it allows them to pursue genuine interests in a safe and more regulated way. For families, this means children can still gain valuable and support if they choose to act without being exposed to more exploitation from the industry or their family members. For the film industry, child actors help create more authentic and far more powerful films that adults cannot replace. For
POI.
society, keeping child actors also means children can develop important life skills such as confidence, communication, and communication abilities. So overall, our side protects children while preserving the artistic, the social, and developmental benefits that a full ban would completely destroy. Next, I want to summarize this debate and why opposition wins in every single clash. The first, our the proposition team mentioned, well, our opposition team mentioned that children may have genuine interest. Clash here is related to whether or not interest weighs over damage. Prop wants to weigh damage over interest, which is completely viable. However, the damage argument is completely void, as we do not argue that the damage is not as important as interest, but that we want to avoid that preserving interest. By allowing children to have good conditions to work and no exploitation, a possible feat which we would waste the opportunity to do so because of the money and energy and time consuming that the total ban would cause. We can preserve interest and passion while not damaging children. There's no reason to waste this valuable opportunity or passion because we believe something that is fixable cannot be fixed. Next, I want to talk about the authenticity of the movie and why it ruins the filmmaking to ban child actors. Banning the role of children in movies denies the importance of art. Why is filmmaking important? It is an important aspect of pop culture as well as being a form of expression. An opposition's argument is void as these issues with child actors can be solved with a committee to help regulate movies, rules and checks and balances, and not only that, but the disadvantages associated with child acting can be solved. These skills help children develop useful skills later in life as well. We talk about how proposition talks about how the stress and mental problems causes developmental problems in the future. However, stress and competition is a natural part of growing up. We agree that it is far more stressful being a child actor, but by implementing rules and support systems, this can be solved as well. This helps children prepare for necessary skills in future, including enhanced emotional intelligence, improved confidence, and strong communication skills. These skills show that the time lost from valuable experiences and learning opportunities are not waste and are used to learn valuable lifelong skills that places like school or family may not even offer. The problem of lost free time or time with family is completely void, as our debate is about if they are given time to spend with family and are given proper time to have school. So in the best case scenario for prop, where truly many children are appropriate conditions and the companies are truly poorly regulated, we would still win, as a total ban is completely not feasible. And by banning in some place, we will still 100% ignore others. By turning child actors illegal, we worsen the situation by allowing other smaller countries that don't implement a ban depend on this industry and exploit or misregulate worse. Because we win every clash in this debate and we benefit the stakeholders more, I believe that opposition should win. Thank you very much.
Start this reply speech by answering 3 questions. What is this debate about? What did we propose? And what were the 3 main clashes? So this debate is about the actual safety of children in child acting, and also like the biggest clash is also about safety. Propositions spend their time like saying that a ban like make all the risks disappear in child acting, but we said that a ban doesn't stop kids from performing, it just stops them from being protected in like or like they will miss out on the chance to get protected by these regulations and also laws. If you pass this motion, like you trade like these professional sets, like for example, tutors, chaperones, and like legal hour limits for like projects and unmonitored like social like media frames, and just um let them uh like just not have the actual right to get protected anymore, because after banning it there would still be child acting, and it's impossible to like just off it like it just as what our third speaker said, it takes a lot of money and also effort to stop it worldwide. And on the second clash of the school vs work, like the pressure from like financial uh pressure, and also uh compared to like a very relaxing school uh subject, but we believe that it's uh like similar, because we know like a lack of regulation is the problem, so why don't we just regulate this problem better and uh let it uh like protect the children better, instead of banning the whole thing and um completely like removing this like chance for children to act from this whole. So this is why our team believes that it is important to not ban child actors, and because of the strength of our arguments and how effectively we took out all of their arguments, this is why we win this debate. Project Bros.
All right. Esteemed judge, what this debate really comes down to, do we want to rely on a glass shield of protection against certain harms? I think not. Our team has successfully argued that even in the best case scenario, children are severely psychologically and developmentally harmed, and in the more likely worst case scenario, children develop extremely debilitating eating disorders, harming their children relationships with food for life. They lose time for social development and lose opportunities to build strong friendship. But what has opposition done in this debate? In this debate, their arguments significant logical gaps, inconsistencies, and it is evident that their impact has much less magnitude as ours. Opposition argues that child acting helps children pursue their passion, build confidence, and maintain art value. They keep on saying that child acting builds so many skills, but they never address our arguments properly. Our argument that refutes this, because these skills can be achieved elsewhere with less harm. These claims are completely irrelevant because the harms far, far outweigh these benefits, and these benefits aren't even exclusive to the motion. Children can get those same benefits in a musical or a play with a much lower chance of exploitation because of the reduced financial incentives. And we still, and even if we let the opposition have this argument, we um, they think that child acting will just be pushed down to illegal underground environments. But by that logic, we should legalize everything that is illegal, right? Even if we let the opposition have this argument, we still win on a higher principle. Because if child acting is banned, then very little child actors doing this illegally. And as this is risky, less structured, and less funded with less incentives, and we still win because we are reducing the harm of child acting. Judge, I ask you, when children can achieve the same benefits with a much safer activity, why should we put the child acting long term? Our impacts are irreversible and unique motion, while the opposition's case rests on minor trade offs. And for these reasons, it is clear victory lies with us.